Hi, this is Bill Stinnett, and thanks for tuning in. Today I want to respond to a question that I hear perhaps as much as any that we hear from salespeople all over the world. And that basically is, I've sent out a proposal to my client, and now they won't call me back. What do I do? And I think we need to take a look at, first of all, some of the causes for this before we actually look at what we can do about it. Because to analyze these causes just a little bit might give us the answer as to what might be best to do here to try to correct this situation. Now, there's every possibility that, of course, the client is on vacation. They're just on travel, for business travel this week, simply not available. But perhaps more likely, there are several mistakes that we tend to make at proposal time that cause a customer to not respond. And let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, one of the things that might be occurring is that we might have sent a proposal out prematurely. Maybe we're way down toward the end of our sales process trying to close, but the customer is actually fairly early on in their buying process, still really not sure, still evaluating different options, still thinking about whether or not they want to move forward. And when a client receives a proposal in those early stages, they simply can't act on it. And so when we send a proposal and we start calling back and sending emails to follow up and see if we can get them to respond to this, they're not ready to respond. In some cases, they're maybe not even able to respond yet. They have to gather more information. They need to talk to some other people. They have to do some more internal selling or get additional buy-in. And so if we send a proposal prematurely, maybe we're ready, it's the end of our quarter, we're trying to close a deal, but the client is simply not ready to receive a proposal. So that might be one of the conditions. Rectify that next time. Make sure don't send your proposal until the client's actually ready to receive it, until they're into a place where they can make a decision about moving forward or not. You've got the right people involved, etc. Which brings us really to number 2. And the second mistake that sometimes we make, and that is that we send a proposal to the wrong person. And what I mean by this is somebody might have contacted us, or we've made a contact at, let's say, a lower level in an organization, and they're a nice person. They seem knowledgeable. Maybe they're the user of whatever it is that we sell, and they want to buy from us. And their opinion or perspective of what their buying process looks like is perhaps fairly simplistic. They're going to make a decision, they're going to look at a few options, make a recommendation to their boss, and the boss is going to place an order. But what you and I need to remember is that sometimes those individuals who are asking us for a proposal, they send that on to their boss, and that boss may not be ready, right? Or they might not be as far along in their process, or just more to the point, what they wanted to see in the proposal, what they expected in terms of a proposed solution, the price point that we're at in terms of just the range and the budget availability and what they can invest at this time, it might be off a little bit. And so if we're proposing to the wrong person, then we should naturally expect some kind of a delay in response, or in fact maybe that individual we sent the proposal to just completely goes dark because they don't have an answer for us. And they get embarrassed, of course, when they send it to their boss. The boss says, let me think about it, and now they don't have an answer for you. They might start avoiding your phone calls and not responding to your emails. Number 3 mistake, though, that we often make, and this is one that we really should work on correcting as often as we can, and that is that we send a proposal really without asking for any kind of commitment to review it and get back to us and talk about it. And of course, the challenge with this simply is if we don't have some kind of a commitment to them to look at it, review this, and get back to us, then chances are they're just going to sit on that and who knows, maybe they're just kind of collecting prices from 4 or 5 or 6 different vendors at this time. And so let me offer a suggestion. When you prepare a proposal, when it's the right time, and you're proposing to the right person, when we prepare that, ideally, the very best way to present your proposal is to go see the client, look at them face to face, present your proposal in person, and ask them, what do you think? Do you want to move forward with this? Does this look okay to you? Is there any reason you wouldn't want to move forward with this today? If we can't do it in person, however, the second best would be to call on the phone and say, Bob, I've got this proposal ready for you. I'm going to email it to you right now, and let's review it together via WebEx, some other web conferencing platform, or just on a telephone call. Email them or show them on the screen the proposal and walk them through it so that you can ask for closure at the end. You can say, what do you think, Bob? Do you have any questions? Would you like to move forward with this? Is there any reason you wouldn't want to move forward with it? If that's not possible, you can't get an agreement to that, which if you can't get an agreement to that, we may not want to send the proposal to start with, but if you have to send a proposal without an opportunity to walk them through it, then at the very least, schedule a time that you're going to talk about it and review it and get some feedback. Here's what I'm saying. If you just send a proposal over to your client with no commitment, nothing on their calendar, no timetable to review it and get back to you, then that gives them kind of an open-ended time frame, and you'll start chasing them. And that chasing feeling, hey Bob, did you get the proposal? Give me a call back. Sending emails, let me know what you think of the proposal. No worse feeling in the world than when we're chasing a client in that way. So here's what we can do about this. Some of these things we can take action on now. Others we might actually need to think about not making the same mistake next time. But first thing is, I encourage you to stop chasing them via email and voicemail. If they don't call you back from a voicemail, or you send an email or two and they don't respond to it, there's a reason they're not responding. Again, maybe they're not ready to make a decision at this time. Maybe you've got the wrong person involved. You simply haven't sold the value side of it enough to outweigh the price that now scares them. But if they're not calling you back and not responding, stop chasing them. Instead, try to set an appointment. Try to go back and correct the mistake of not having an appointment set, and try to set one at this time. You can do that using an Outlook or some other calendar invitation. See if you can get a response to this. Topic is review proposal. If you can get something nailed down in your calendar through a request on their calendar, that would be a good place to start. If that's not appropriate or doesn't seem to work, a phone call suggesting, Bob, I'd like to schedule an appointment with you to review the proposal. I've got Thursday afternoon at 1:30 available. Let's go ahead and shoot for that time. If that time doesn't work, then give me a call back and let me know of a better time that we can schedule this to review that. So try to set an appointment in one way or another. You might actually also, if you are going to leave a voicemail or even in an email, you might want to admit that you made a mistake. Hey, Bob, I clearly sent you this proposal. Maybe it's not appropriate time to actually receive that, or something's wrong here. But the mistake I made is I didn't set a time for us to review this. Perhaps I should have reviewed it with you in person first. So I'd like to correct that mistake. In other words, kind of admitting that sometimes will help them appreciate and understand that you want to make this right. Another point, number 4 suggestion here might be you have to call somebody different. Now the problem is, of course, is that you've been working with this client for some time, and you only have this one contact, and you've sent a proposal to them. Maybe you don't have anybody else to call. That's probably the biggest problem that I observe salespeople run into, is they have no other names and telephone numbers to call at this time. So let's try to not make that mistake next time. Let's try to meet more people before it's proposal time. So in the next opportunity, we've got more than one phone number or more than one email to reach out to. But at this time, it might be appropriate to call someone different. And I would use the excuse, literally, if I can't get a response from them, of calling somebody else in the organization and saying, hey, does Bob still work there? Because I've sent 3 emails and left 4 voicemails and haven't heard a thing back from him. And so I think it's appropriate to call somebody else and just see where things stand. Now, you're going to have to use your own judgment with this, because sometimes your individual contact that you have been working with might be offended if you call somebody else. But my thinking is, if they won't even respond, they won't even reply to us, to me that's a little rude. It's a little bit unprofessional. And so at that time, I'm simply looking to get somebody else on the phone. But you might want to, here's point number 5, rather than making that call to somebody else yourself, leverage somebody else on your team to make that call. One great way to do it would be to have your manager call to their manager and simply say, and by the way, when they do this, see if you can schedule the appointment maybe with that manager's assistant, so it's a scheduled time to talk on the phone, so that now your boss, your manager, doesn't just start chasing their manager. Again, schedule appointment. Manager calls and asks the simple question, hey, we put out a proposal 2 weeks ago or however long it was. We haven't had a chance to review this. We've gotten no feedback. We'd like to schedule a time to get some feedback from this. Now, the point with all of this is, whether you do it in person or you're going to do this live on the phone, is that you can reach a place where you can close, where you can say, what do you think about this? Do you want to move forward with this? Do you want to get started Tuesday or Wednesday? Would you like us to expedite delivery to your facility, or do you want to pick it up at our site? Some closing question that actually brings you to a place where you can bring closure to this and either win it or lose it. The worst thing I think about this whole thing is sending out a proposal and then sitting there and waiting on that call back or chasing people, and you and I know how bad that feels, and it doesn't feel any better for them. And so hopefully some of these suggestions can help you get out of this jam, but more importantly, avoid some of these mistakes next time so you don't have this problem on the next opportunity. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.